file, and this is going to take a progress parameter, and then here we're going to say data file.find. Okay, so we're looking for the progress class, which is going to be generated with our JavaScript. We'll create that in a minute. And we're going to say dot width, and then we're going to put in our progress variable. So that's basically it for the Filedrop API. Alright, so now we want to break out of that, and we're going to create our template markup. Alright, and we're going to store it all inside of a variable called template. And basically this is going to include, when we created our CSS, we have, for instance, the preview class we styled, image holder uploaded, and you can see that we don't have any of those classes in our HTML. We're going to create a variable with that markup. Okay, so for template, I'm going to say div class, and I'm going to set this to preview. And let's see, we'll just go line by line, and we'll just concatenate each line with a plus symbol. Alright, and then we're going to have a span with the class name. Actually, we need our quotes, single quotes here. So a span with the class name of image holder. Okay. So for the next line, we're just going to put an empty image tag here because it's going to be filled dynamically. Okay, so let's indent that. Go to the next line. The next line is going to be our closing span tag. And I just want to line these up correctly. Alright, so after the closing span tag, we're going to add another div and call it progress holder, which will basically hold our progress bar. Alright. Oops, I forgot a less than for div. Alright, and then inside of here we're going to create another div with the class of progress. And we're also going to include the closing div as well. Okay, let's close this. And one more. Alright, so that's good. Alright, so that's where all that markup is going to come from. Now, underneath that, underneath our template variable, we're going to create the createImage function. And that's going to take our file as a parameter. And actually we have to say function. Alright, so let's initialize a variable called preview, and that's going to be set to the template. Alright, now we want another variable called image, which will be set image and then preview. Well, now the purpose of this createImage basically is to get a data URL of the image and then add it as the source of the image. Okay, so of this right here, this blank image holder. Alright, so we're going to use the file reader API for that. So we need to create another variable, and we're just going to call this reader and set it to new file reader. Okay, so we're going to use the file reader API. I'm going to set some options. We're going to say image.width, and for now we'll just set this to 100, and then image.height set to 100 as well. And then we can use that reader object. Okay, we'll say reader.onload equals function, pass in an event parameter, so basically we're going to dynamically add the source for the image. So image dot attribute, and the attribute that we want to add is the source, so src. And then for the data URL, we can use e.target.result. Okay, so that'll be the data URL that we pass in. And then reader.read as data URL. Pass in the file. So this is gonna read the data as URL, and when this is finished, it's gonna trigger the onload function, okay, which is right here, which will create the source. And then what we want to do is we're going to say back.hide. Okay, so we're doing this because when we upload an image, we don't want this drag and drop and camera icon. We don't want that to show because that'll look all just messed up. And this should actually be a K. Okay, so we'll hide that, and then we're going to say preview dot append to pickbox. All right, so we're going to add it to that pickbox div. And we're going to use JQuery's data function to associate a preview, the preview container with the file. So data, and we're going to pass in file and preview. Alright, so that's it for the create image function. Now we have one more small function, and that's just to show a message. So show message, and this is just gonna, we'll say message. Actually, we want to say back because that's the ID, that's the class we've used up here is back. So back.html, and we'll just fill it with a message. Alright, so that's it for the JavaScript. Not too bad. We most likely will have to do some debugging, so let's save it and just see what happens. Alright, so we're getting this unexpected token error on line 16, which is alright, so it looks like I put this colon here and it's not supposed to be. So let's get rid of these. Alright, the default is supposed to be there. Alright, so let's save that. Stupid mistake. Okay, so that seems to be fixed, but now we're getting this undefined is not a function on line 5. Okay, so the actual API, pickbox.filedrop. Let's make sure that it's reading the actual Filedrop JavaScript file. So if we go to source and then click on Filedrop, seems to be okay. Alright guys, so I paused the video and was looking for an issue inside our JavaScript file, and it's not there. There's nothing that I can tell is wrong, so I went and looked at our structure, and I looked at, let me just open it up. We'll go to htdocs, dd uploader, and this Filedrop file is actually the wrong file. Okay, so if I open this up, you can see that it says HTML5 and legacy file upload. This just is not the right file. So what we need to do is get the right one. Alright, so if we search for JQuery Filedrop, now the first one that pops up is actually the GitHub repository, so we're going to get that, click on that, and we want this jQuery.filedrop.js. so let's actually download the zip. Alright, so we want this file here, so let's just copy that and bring it to our structure. Alright, and I'm going to delete this filedrop.js. Alright, now let's go into our index file and just change this to jQuery.filedrop. Alright, so let's try this again. Actually, I'll leave that open just to see if we get any errors. Reload. No errors. Now this isn't going to go to the folder. This isn't going to upload to our folder yet. So let's just see what happens. Alright, so you can see that it did actually get put into the box. Nothing's happening because we don't have our PHP set up. Let me actually see. Alright, yeah, so that's fine. Array buffer is depreciated. Alright, so it looks fine up to this point. Obviously we can't test it fully until we do the PHP, so we will get into that in the next video.